Thank you and welcome to another episode of the Carolina Otaku Podcast. I am Afro and I am here with my co-host. Lexi, you didn't say shit. I can't hear you.
Okay, that's the second time it's done that. It did it last time I was streaming and it did it just now. It'll randomly mute itself and I don't know why. But Hi everybody, it's me, it's Lexi. Hope you guys had a good week or 2 weeks. We're back.
Yes, we are back. And I do want to introduce somebody who I kind of know. Grew up with them in the same house for eons. This is Dr. Spriggs. You don't mind if I call you doctor, right?
I don't mind.
All right. Miss Spriggs. So this is my sister, everybody. This is my sister. We got her on this episode. She is a veterinarian specializing in dermatology. She can probably explain that a little bit better than I can. But just as an intro, Tyler, kind of tell us about yourself and kind of just what do you do, and are you a fan of anime, and how did you get into it? Go ahead and just boast me up a little bit, though.
All right. Yes, I'm Tyler Spriggs, Dr. Spriggs. I am Afro's little sister. So same household, all that good stuff. But it's like cliche, like typical kid likes animals. Okay, I want to pursue veterinary medicine, but I went to undergrad in vet school at Tuskegee, TU, and go to Alabama. But
Go ahead. Go.
And then just ended up going to state, finished my residency in dermatology. So I am a skin doctor for your dogs, cats, large animals, but more so dogs than cats. So anything going with their skin, allergies for sure. That's really what I see all the time. That is what I focus on instead of just the general stuff. And as far as anime, I would say if it wasn't for my bro, then I wouldn't really be into it much. He really is the one that introduced me more and more to different anime shows or movies and tries to get me more hip. So it's really him, I will say.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
My favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I've seen and know the most is like Demon Slayer. So that's really what I know.
Good choice.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for that, Ty. So like I said, how we usually start these off, Lexi, what have you been up to since the last time that we talked?
Oh, my jacket came in. So that is here. And then this sweater came in yesterday. It's Cowboy Bebop watches on the back. This is pretty much it. Friday I get to go see Schoolboy Q in Atlanta. So I'll be doing that. And then I think in like a couple weeks I have to go to California for work, and that's pretty much all I've been up to.
Nice. Same. Not much of shit. Working, planning stuff. I'll be back home next week. What else? I'll be traveling too soon, and I'm gonna say probably like October for work. Heading to Tennessee. Actually gonna be driving that, so that should be nice. And other than that, I mean, I bought a steam cleaner, but it's not gonna get here till Friday because
bought a nice one.
Yeah, but like the whole Amazon shit, the shit that happened last week with the CrowdStrike shit, it pushed everything. So
I got all my Prime Day stuff. Like I got my last name today, so I wasn't affected by that at all. Actually,
yeah, I was like, man, like I really wanted to start using that shit, but what I'm talking about is I think everybody should know about this shit, even if you're not in tech. What was that, Thursday or Friday?
It was Friday. And please, everybody, it was not a cyber attack.
Tell them.
It was
Tell 'em.
not.
Tell 'em.
Please stop calling it a cyber attack because that just irks me when everybody says it. I know you guys have your little tinfoil hats on and think, but it literally was not that at all. Somebody was not testing, but they were working in prod, and that is a big no-no in software development. Like, you don't do that at all. But that happened, and they didn't do testing, and they just pushed out this little patch thinking, hey, it's going to be great, fan and dandy. And no, they fucked up the world for a lot of people. So that's literally the summary of what happened on Friday.
Yep. Definitely put a halt to a lot of stuff, airlines, banks, some stores. I mean, around the world. The company that I worked for was affected a little bit. Some companies were really fucking affected by this thing. I mean, they got it fixed. By the time it started to hit the East Coast, a lot of stuff was kind of being resolved already and stuff. But if you lived in Hong Kong and Australia, you were kind of like smack dab, like in the beginning of it, and it just worked its way across the world. Yeah, I didn't know that CrowdStrike had so much. I didn't know it had its hands in so much shit to the point where it could do that. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, a company grows, but this doesn't. I'm not going to say it's it was kind of a bad thing. It makes CrowdStrike look kind of like
makes them look terrible. Like, their stock shares have gone down like tremendously since then. And then if you know the CEO of CrowdStrike, he also was a part of McAfee, and then they had a similar incident like 10, 12 years ago. So I mean, it doesn't make them look good at all. And then I think Microsoft was in talks of trying to buy out CrowdStrike or do a partnership with them, like on like an official partnership level. And now that's just, I know Microsoft's going to be like, nah, we good on that.
But one thing, when I was working there, the one thing that they really pushed or told us about is that the owner has a race car. So I guess that's cool. Like, they pushed the fuck out of that. He owns a race car. Oh, that's dope. Like, that's cool. That's amazing. Love that. But anyway, yeah, that's what I've been up to. Nothing too crazy at all. But before we get into talking to Tyler, asking her questions, and kind of just going on her background and stuff like that, I was talking to a friend of mine this past week, and she was telling me about, that Meg Thee Stallion song that she did with, I don't know who she did it with.
It's like Yuki something.
Yeah, some Korean like pop star or something like that. Right. My friend was like, I can't stand like people using that song, like doing their fucking makeup. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're not even like it's, nobody wants to gatekeep shit, but it's kind of like, do we need to start gatekeeping shit?
Okay, in blur culture, there we always like gatekeeping is a thing. It is a big thing.
But I mean, do we need to start doing it when it's like, I post stuff every day, and that song is within the top viral songs of TikTok, right? So
especially because they got that dance.
What'd you say?
With that dance that they have.
I didn't even see the dance. So when I heard that, I was like, do we need to start gatekeeping shit? Do you think gatekeeping would like, when I heard that, I was like, would gatekeeping start like lessening down like the number of people that go to conventions and stuff like that? If we were like what if like before you got a ticket to a convention, you had to take like a test to like get the ticket, like an anime test to show like your real shit?
That wouldn't work either because like people just look them up online. Oh, what's the question? Let me Google real quick. Oh, got a friend that's in the anime. Hey, can you answer these questions real quick? It's not going to stop anything. But like, I think if we gatekeep, it's just going to make people more of like, ooh, what's this? And then like, I mean, it's nice that stuff is becoming mainstream, but then like it is a double-edged sword.
It's really not. Mainstream is cool. It's dope. It's really not. It's like when somebody who's like a really big like food reviewer, right? Let's say you were going to a restaurant for years before like it blew up, right?
Mhm.
And this famous food reviewer comes and checks it out, and the whole like here in North Carolina, there's a lady that sells watermelons like out of a truck, like out of the back of a truck, and her watermelons are like good. Like they're supposed to be the best watermelons like in the state, right? And somebody did like a review about them, and now she has lines out the ass every day for her yellow watermelons, red, everything. I'll be pissed off if I was going to that shit from the jump.
Why? That's bringing
So
her more business.
That's dope. That's cool. But I ain't getting no watermelon though.
You are going to get watermelon.
I ain't getting no watermelon though.
If she's
like
running out.
She does run out. She does.
Well,
like a lot of these places that get reviews, they like the small ones. Like a food truck might be around. You know, a food truck. Like, go ahead.
Okay, let's not think about you.
Right.
Selfish. Think of it as a whole and think about it for her. Like now she has more business. So now she can probably use that money she's getting from that more business to do upgrades and grow her business. So you might in turn get more watermelons because of her doing this. But then again, like you also think about it too, just like I don't know if you watch like Keith Lee on like TikTok, but like he does food reviews of like different restaurants, and then like most of these places are struggling beforehand, and then he goes and then they just blow up. But I mean, that does help. And you know, after that big surge, you know, a lot of people stop going, but like it brings more revenue into, you know, the business, and it does help them in the long run.
And now you need to get there sooner. If she's gonna be that popular, you just need to get there a little bit earlier, so that way you don't end up not having your watermelon.
Shut up, motherfucker. All right, so
just saying, yeah.
And then with that same friend I was talking to, we were talking about how like watching anime back in the day was like difficult. How you had to go and download like stuff from a LimeWire or a Morpheus or something like that, and then the shit's not in order, right?
No,
so you gotta like really like try to find the shit so it can be in order. Or you got Toonami and all that other stuff, but it's like it's certain animes that they only showed on Toonami. They weren't showing shit, and that might not be something that you want to watch. So you got to find other ways. You got to like deal with just waiting, downloading, and all that stuff and all that shit. Now it's just like, oh yeah, I can just get a Crunchyroll, watch all that shit in a day.
Or like YouTube part like 1 of 3, and it's like 360p. Or like I used to watch my anime on Winamp. So that's how old I am. But yeah.
I would, like I said, I was a person that would like download stuff from like a LimeWire or a Morpheus and go from there, or like Kazaa, Jesus. You know, shit like that, and just like see what I can find. And the funny thing is, of course it's not dubbed. You know, it sometimes, and to be really honest with you, it might not even be subbed. You just you don't know what the fuck they saying. You hoping that you do, but you don't know what the hell they saying. You just sitting there like, yeah, I'm watching this shit. I'm watching this shit. I got it. Like I'm watching this shit. This is, you know, I get to see it. I can talk about it. Y'all see when that motherfucker flew up in the air and shot that motherfucker? Yeah, that shit.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Is this why all you like most of you men only talk about fight scenes in anime? Like not about story. It's always about like who had the greatest fight or who can beat up who, because that is y'all top 2 conversations when y'all talk about anime. It's just that.
I think it's fighting, and it's also the way that the person looks. Like I think that, and I think anime creators know this, that, and now it's to the point where it's not really I think anime nowadays is more I think the illustrators and the creators know, like, okay, like making like whoever made Goju knew for a fact. He knew for a fact, all right, we're gonna get this motherfucker pretty looking eyes, right? He gonna cover them shits, but when he take them shits off, oh, it's gonna be waterfalls, right? And that's what it was. Like, that's what it was. I've seen people react to the first time he shows his eyes. Go ahead, Lexi.
Why? Why you putting a smile on me? Like, excuse you. I mean,
Like,
he is cute, but you know he's not like in like my top husbandos list. So I'm like, he's cute or whatever. Keep it moving
or whatever.
But he's like, but they knew what they were doing. Like nowadays, it's like,
yes,
all right,
fan service. They know that like if they can make a pretty character in an anime, they can market the shit out of that person and like have people all on social media talking about this person, doing fan fictions, buying up all the merch. It's just
yeah, fan fiction is crazy. But let's get to our guest that we have here today. Like I said, we have my sister, Dr. Spriggs, here, veterinarian. So I guess, Dr. Spriggs, what is?
Please call me Tyler.
What is that?
Just call me Tyler.
Nah, man, I gotta call you Dr. Spriggs. She hates that shit. So, what, when going through the process of becoming a veterinarian, I guess, first, what's the length of time to actually from start to finish? I mean, I guess start to like finish to the point where you're like working.
I'm a vet.
Yeah.
Like regular, not specializing.
Let's say let's do regular and then with specialization.
Well, your whole life. But no, specifically, you really so you do undergrad and you don't have to get like you don't have to have a degree to end up going to vet school. Like as long as you take the prerequisites, yeah.
What?
Yeah. But that shouldn't encourage somebody to say, oh, let me just go take these courses, because really, if you think about it in the long run or all together, it's basically you doing all 4 years. So if you pick and choose, I had one classmate that did that. Only one. So 4 years of undergrad, and you major in like biology, animal science, or what have you. And then really after that is the hard part, because vet school, there's not that many veterinary schools in the country. It's like what, probably at this point, I want to say like 33 or something around that range compared to just regular medical school. So it's more competitive to get in. Yeah. So I personally applied to like 4 different vet schools. I already knew where I wanted to go, but I just wanted to, just look at other options. So Tuskegee was always my choice. That's why I even went to the school for undergrad, because they had a vet school and they graduate like 70-80% of Black vets. So that's what sold me right there. Nice. Like, this is dope. I want to go where I know I'm going to be celebrated, praised, and be around my tribe, my people. But it was diverse because we also had a lot of people from Puerto Rico, because they have a big recruitment there too. So my class was pretty diverse, like a mix of definitely Black, some white, Puerto Rican, and then maybe 1 or 2 people like of Asian descent. And really, it's just 4 years of just more school, and then you have your clinics 4th year. So total, you do like 8 years undergrad in vet school, and then you're like a regular veterinarian. You just do general practice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want.
What were the other schools that you applied to?
So besides ski, I applied to Virginia, Maryland, because I would get in-state tuition for Maryland. I applied to Auburn University. That was kind of just, I didn't really want to apply to Auburn. It was like, hey, I want to apply to LSU. but I need to take a little bit more credits. And that was going to really be over the top, like 23 credit hours. I said, we're not doing that. So I replaced it with Auburn, and I applied to Ross University. That's in the Caribbean.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I got into Tuskegee, and I got into Ross, and I was like, we're going to Tuskegee.
Gotcha.
Like the second doctor that I know that a friend of mine, she also did her medical training in the Caribbean too. So
I like it.
And when it comes to the specializing, I guess is that something that you're thinking about junior, I guess, like a junior senior year within vet?
Yeah. Mostly, I would say some students already come in with like, okay, I don't want to be a vet. I know I don't want to do general practice. Like, I want to end up specializing like neurology. They want to be a neurologist. Some people already come in knowing that they want to specialize. Most times you don't. Most times it's like, I'm going to be a veterinarian. Oh my gosh, I get to have animals. Cool. And then you get to like your second, third year, you start to do like externships, internships, and kind of get a feel for what you may want to do, or just dip your feet in every little thing and say, okay, I don't like that. I like this. Like ER medicine. No, it's not for me. It's not
too fast paced.
It's too much. It's fast paced and my anxiety. So like when stuff comes in, it's like, okay, you have to act quick. Like you have to know what to do. And you have a couple minutes to think, but sometimes if something's like literally dying on you, you need to know, all right, we want to give this much, that much of this. Okay, that's too much for my mental. So I did an internship because I had to do it. I knew ER was a part of it and I pushed through it. ER medicine, no. I thought I wanted to be a surgeon when I went to vet school. That was my first, like, I want to do surgery.
Yeah.
And that changed pretty quickly because I did a summer program, and that's where it came to my mind. So I did a summer program at Purdue. It was called like Arc Square. And that's where I was able to actually like figure out, oh, they have specialists. Like, oh my gosh, like they actually had this shit. Okay, that's cool. Like cardiologists, ophthalmologists, all these things. Everything people have, they have for dogs and cats. They do. And a lot of people don't know that. So it opened up so many doors. And I was like, okay, do I want to do GP? No, I want to specialize, maybe be a surgeon. I did my junior year and we had junior surgery. And I was like, I don't like to stand up for like 6-7 hours and cutting into stuff. I don't like cutting into stuff too. It's it's a bit invasive. And also it's a lot of pressure too, versus compared to ER. Yeah, ER, something may die or something may live because of what it came in for. The owner's kind of aware of that. Surgery, yes, too, but that's, that changed really quick. You can't touch your face, and I sweat very easily. So there's like different factors that were like, yeah, this is not for me. Gotcha. Dermatology came about during my clinical year. So right before, going into my 4th year of vet school, that's when we were able to sit and meet the different clinicians that work at the vet school. And I was like, oh shit, we got a dermatologist? I had never seen this lady before. She's a Black woman. Shout out Dr. Hubbard. She's my mentor. And she's the one that like got me started. And like once I took what was like general practice, which is like regular hospital stuff, that's where we had dermatology. And I was like, I think I like this. Who else can I talk to? And she put me in contact with her mentor in Atlanta. And so Dr. White, I was with her for like a summer or a couple weeks in the summertime. Then I went to Auburn for a couple weeks. So I was like shadowing and doing externships, like really trying to get more knowledge and like really solidify like, okay, this is what I really want to do. Because once you specialize, you can end up doing something else. You don't have to stay with it for life, but you specializing in this because you really love that. So I'm a creature of habit, and I like to have direction and like to focus on one thing. So GP, a lot of people do GP, which is general practice, because once you're done your 4 years of vet school, you can work wherever, any hospital you want to. A lot of people are just wanting to make money because it's a lot of debt. So vet vet school is expensive. If you don't have in-state tuition, you're paying that out-of-state tuition, and it's expensive.
It's a lot more, yeah.
Yeah, it is. So I would say most students, even the ones I would teach at state, that was their first thing. Like, I got to start making money. So they didn't want to do any more schooling, or I'm tired of school. I don't want to do that. Cool. So if you specialize, it depends on what you do, because some places they require an internship, or like a rotating internship, where you have to do ER, surgery, like general practice, and kind of some of them have specialty hospitals where they rotate through the other services too. But the main ones are going to be surgery, ER, ICU, those type of things. So that's what I did my first year out of vet school was, internship. And I was in Virginia at a VCA animal hospital out that way. And it was intense because I was the only first intern that they had. So it was a lot of pressure for me, a lot of just new stuff for them. So that year was a good year, but I commuted from Baltimore to Northern Virginia. Yeah. And I stayed at home with my mom. Yeah. Fun times. So yeah. And then and then you do a derm internship. You don't have to. But if you do like a specific, I want to do dermatology, I do a dermatology internship, it looks better on your resume. So you don't have to, but you are required to do a rotating internship before you can apply to a dermatology program for a residency. And that's usually a 3-year program.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Dope. So within this journey of becoming a veterinarian, was there any, did you ever think of just saying, I think I might, not specialize and kind of just stick with GP?
Oh yeah. I had those moments for sure. I'm like, man,
what the fuck am I doing?
I don't gotta do this. Like I decided I want to do all this. Like, I don't have but I did have those moments where I'm like, I could give up. I could just say, F this, I'm gonna do GP, cool. But I knew that if I did that, I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's doing GP is not for me. I want to specialize. I want to do derm because you could specialize in anything else if you wanted to, but I wasn't interested in anything else but skin.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. But I don't give up on myself. So I was like, we go push through. We go finish this, and we finished.
Okay. Yeah. So I kind of want to, we can sit here all day and kind of go through your background and stuff, but I kind of want to ask you like certain things that like, like we're not trying to give, look, if you got questions, you got to pay for fucking questions. All right. Let's just keep it. Right? Let's just keep it up.
You want a consult?
Yeah. You want a consult, you got to pay for that shit. But just like things that I would, think about kind of off the top of my head. Like, okay, so, well, I'm just going to hit you with this. Would you go, now, I'm going to ask you shit, okay? And remember, I make clips of shit, okay?
Yes, Christopher, I know.
All right. Would you go, first question is, would you go shelter or purebred?
Shelter.
Oh
yeah. Adopt.
Reason.
Don't shop. Reason? Because it's literally so many dogs and cats that are in these shelters that literally want love, and they've been there for years, and they're the sweetest dog in the world, but it's like, oh, it's an old dog. Oh, I don't want that. I want a young dog.
Yeah.
Or I want a purebred golden doodle. Bro, that is not purebred. Okay. That's a mutt. Okay. It's a golden retriever in a freaking poodle mix. Okay.
Yeah.
So people that Don't get me wrong. I love purebred dogs. I do, but I'm one like adoption because they have these kill shelters, unfortunately. And so those are the ones that break my heart the most because they give them this time limit. And if they're not adopted, they got to go.
Yeah.
So I'm all for pushing for shelters, or if you find a dog, a stray or cat.
That's actually a good question to lead into. Let's say you do find a stray, right? And this stray doesn't run away from you, because most of the time they run. They run. Trust me, I was driving into town and I saw a white pit bull, very skinny. He was about to get hit. He was about to get hit by me. And he was just out in the road. And I stopped, pulled over, and I tried to call him, but his ass looked at me like, nigga, I don't know you. And he turned around and went the other way.
You got to move? Oh, bad. Okay.
Yeah. He turned around and went the other way. See, that's the thing I might start doing, is just like keeping some dry food in the car or something like that. You know what I mean? Just because where I live, there are a lot of strays out here. And some of these strays some of them are being bad. Like you said, when you were here, like, I don't know, maybe like a week ago, there's a black dog that I told you about who walks around the neighborhood in the morning, never see him at night or the afternoon. So he definitely belongs to somebody. He doesn't look malnourished or anything like that. He looks pretty healthy, nice, healthy coat, really nice looking dog. And he just makes his rounds and just pees on everybody's lawn. Right? That's what he really does. Do that shit.
Walk.
He pees on everybody's lawn and just goes. Right? So when you do find, let's say you do find a stray cat or a stray dog or a lizard or any fucking animal that, whatever. What would you say are those first steps that should be taken when you do find a stray?
You don't remember, like, I found Cooper, like Ma's dog.
Yeah.
I found her in my backyard.
You gotta give a little details about that, Ty.
Okay. So sorry, y'all. So when I was in my second year of vet school, I was living in a house with like two other girls. It was, us three. And I look out the back window and I'm like, is that a puppy? And so I'm just really looking and I'm like, it is a puppy. And it was like mangy looking. It looked nasty, looked tiny. And I was like, I've never seen a puppy just roaming around in the streets. But in Tuskegee, it's very rural. And so a lot of people do not have, they don't have their dogs and cats fixed. So they're out in the streets roaming around mating. And so it's not uncommon to find, any stray animals. Honestly, that's really how most students ended up getting their pets, or most vet school students end up finding, because somebody or they found their dog or cat. So I found this little black dog in my backyard. I was like, we couldn't have dogs where I lived. I had a cat already. And I was like, well, we got to at least get it cleaned up, take it to the vet school, make someone can adopt it. So we had to catch this dog. It took like 2 days. They gave it a bath. My roommates gave it a bath. We left out cat food to try to trap it because we only had cats. Me and my roommate had a cat a piece. And I was like, okay, well, let's leave our cat. He was eating it. And so I was like, cool. So I came home one day and a guy from the vet school, he was able to catch the dog and they gave it a bath. And I was like, oh, let me take some pictures. And I was like, oh, let me call my mom and just tell her like, hey, we found a dog. Not even think anything of it. So I told her about the dog and I was like, yeah, we're trying to take it to the shelter, but because of where it is in Tuskegee, we can't take it to this one. We have to take it to that one and they're full. And I was like, well, we're going to take it to the vet school, see what happens.
Yeah.
So I called my mama back. I sent her pictures of the dog and she called me back and I could tell she had cried. And I was like,
yeah.
And this is what she's like, bring him home, or bring him home is what she said. I was like,
yeah. And that dog ended up in my house for like a couple days.
No. Did she?
Yes, she was in the cage.
She was.
She was.
So she had mange. So Her name is Cooper, but she has scabies. So basically, scabies is a contagious mite that you can get. And I could not touch her physically. I had to wrap her up. And I had my cat, so I couldn't have them contact each other. But she was the sweetest little dog. She pooped in her cage and she let me know she pooped. But yeah, I took her from Alabama. We drove from Alabama up to Maryland, which is like a 12-hour drive.
Ouch.
Stopped at Christopher's house, which was midway. And that's when he had met her. And I was like, yeah, she said she wants this dog. So we're going to take the dog up to her.
Yeah.
And when I took her to my mom's house, that was the first time that dog had wagged her tail. And I left for a couple of weeks because I did like a mission trip called World Vets. And when I came back, she had a full coat of hair.
Is that when you went to Guatemala?
No, I was in Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, yeah. Yeah.
I was there and I came back and I was like, oh damn, this dog got hair. So that is what kind of really literally was like the whole derm came into my mind, like, that's pretty damn cool because this dog looked like this. And then I come back 2 weeks later and she has a full coat of hair, shiny. I said, that's dope. How can I continue to do this and help dogs or cats that really have severe skin issues? So she was one I rescued. She is one that if you're going to decide, oh, I found this dog or cat, I want to keep it.
Yeah.
And it's your first pet ever.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is, hey, yes, Google can be helpful, but Google can also be a downside. But most of the most basic things, like, making sure you have water. As far as food goes, if it's like a puppy and you don't know how old it is, you never know if you find it. So you just have to kind of guesstimate, okay, it's a puppy, let me feed it puppy food. Brands of food that I tend to recommend are going to be like Purina, Hills, and Royal Canin, because those 3 brands of food have been like scientifically studied further than a lot of other brands of food. And yeah, just start there, feed them how much it says on the side of the bag if you're trying to figure out, and don't use a red Solo cup, because that is the biggest thing people will do. It's like, oh yeah, I fed a cup. All right, what kind of cup? The Solo cup. I'm like, yeah, you get a measuring cup.
No.
Well, so actually, about red Solo cups, you can actually measure with a red Solo cup because it has indents within the cup that actually show you the measurements. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, but if you really want to know, okay, exactly how much you should feed your dog, use a measuring cup, whether it be, if you have a regular measuring cup, which most people do, cool, or if you can get the dog or cat ones that you can find, honestly, anywhere, like at pet stores, will be appropriate. Bedding, a crate, okay? Dogs, please crate train them. Like, that's the biggest thing that I tend to advocate for, especially if you don't, whether you work from home or not, you're going to leave home at a certain point in time, and it's going to be, hours or what have you. So you want them to be able to be comfortable in the crate, but also know not to go in the crate as far as like urinating and pooping, Yeah. So that's, to me, probably the hardest part for some people is the crate training, or also just puppy train, like making sure they go out and use the bathroom outside and not inside the house. That comes with the territory. Yeah. And when you discipline them, you have to discipline them right away. You can't do it minutes or hours afterwards, because they're going to associate what they just did. Like, they could have just been laying down in the corner. You came home and saw poop on the floor. Oh, let me go and discipline them. They're going to think, oh, me just laying here is bad. No, you have to catch them in the moment and discipline them then. So that's probably one of the other biggest downfalls I see with a lot of new pet owners, or changing foods a lot. Like, oh, they don't want to eat this, I want to feed that. They're not trying to eat this. Okay, now they want to eat that. Let that dog get hungry enough, whether it be a day, 2 days, 3 days, they gonna get hungry enough, they're gonna eat that food because they're playing with you. So I will see that a lot. My friends asking like, oh, they don't want to eat this, I switched over to another food. Yeah.
You're wasting money.
To play. You are. You are. It's okay to play around with stuff, but Switching
Been there, done that.
diets cause a lot of GI issues too. Like you can't just switch from one food to another and then say, "Oh shit, my dog is shitting all over the place." Yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
I switched him from this diet to that diet in one day. Yeah, don't do that.
And with, I guess, with the strays, right? Would you say, all right, you find a stray, let's say it is malnourished, right? Let's say it is pretty skinny and stuff like that. Would you say give a bath, after bath, feed, water, and set vet appointment?
Definitely set a vet appointment. That's the biggest thing. That's one out the gate. If you don't have a vet already established, if you don't have other dogs or pets, you gotta call around. Like people will vet hop. That's a thing, because it's so many different vet hospitals everywhere that if they don't like one vet place, they can go to another. Or a lot of times in GP setting, they switch doctors every time. So you may not get the same doctor each time your dog goes in. And you may say, "Hey, I like this one specifically." Well, you need to, inquire when's the next time that doctor's going to be on. So that way they can see, your pet. So you definitely want to establish a GP or a hospital. If you find somebody you like at that hospital, a doctor at that hospital, stick with them. Okay. Because everyone has different opinions about what they will recommend doing for, your pet based on what they were taught and also their own experience. So definitely set a vet appointment. Yes, water. I would feed. It really depends on how the dog or cat looks. If they just seem like they're not really into the dry food, you can put a little bit of water in it to make it mushy, to make it wet food. Or you may decide, hey, I'm just going to buy wet food, period. Separate them from any other pet you have in the house, especially if you decide, I'm going to bring them in for the next few days before their vet appointment. I would suggest not introducing them to your other dogs or your cats. But you can put different toys, like scented toys or bedding in that area with your other dogs. So that way they can actually at least smell, okay, this was coming into our home, especially if it's something that they can't catch. If it's something that they can't catch, which like I said, scabies is the only thing they can catch. Of course, fleas, they can also have too. But that's one big thing I advocate for is like getting used to the scent of other pets or your own scent too. I did that with my cats when I introduced them. One of my cats I found outside, and his name is Keanu. Who knows how old he is? The other one's name is Baloo. He came from PetSmart. So he's one of those types of cats.
Yeah.
I didn't introduce them. I literally let them smell each other through the door, like the bottom of the door. Yeah. Until they could get used to each other. And also because Keanu, he was dehydrated when I first got him. So they couldn't get any blood from him to test him out. So I had to separate them. But I was like, okay, how can I at least separate them, but also get used to it?
Yeah.
You could do that.
Gotcha. Okay. How do you, when it comes to just cats in general, I had a friend ask me, what is the best cat litter for a cat?
America's best cat litter. No, that ass. No, really, like that's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
I used to be a big clay cat litter kind of girly, only because
you said clay?
Yeah, clay.
Okay.
So like Tidy Cat, for example, or Fresh Step is another clay. So
I just
literally
wonder
it's
what
gray.
that shit was made out of. I know
Clay
it was
cat
clay.
litter. The thing about it is I would get like the Tidy Cat clumping litter because it will clump fast. But if you have a cat that, let's say, will pee, but will kind of step in once they cover up the cat litter, may step in that, it gets caught to their paw.
Yeah.
And as they're walking around, that shit's coming off. Okay. So it gets over the house. If you allow your cats in your room in your bed, you have clay litter in your bed. Okay. Not cool. Yes, I was one of those girls that used to use clay. My cats right now, they do stay in my room. So it was something where every day I was literally before I would get in bed, like wiping off to make sure there was no clay. But I use corn. It's actually ground up corn. It's called World's Best Cat Litter. And I have a little robot. Shout out to those who use that. Literally, it's an automated cat box that cycles after my cat goes in there. I only have to change out the bag, probably like once a week. But it clumps, but it doesn't leave that mess. So it doesn't leave it stuck to my cat's paws, and it doesn't have an odor either. So it's really good for odor control.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You have different ones though. Some people use pellets. Like you have pellet litter, crystals. Some people will use crystal litter. It's really just a preference because some cats have a preference.
Yeah. I understand that. Okay. And I guess another question would be when it comes to, because you gotten on me about this, when it comes to treats for dogs, right? So when it comes to like, well, I'm thinking more like, all right, you have a bigger dog and you get them like the pig ear or the deer antler or the what else? The
sticks,
the hoof, like the ox hoof or whatever it's called, the black joints or the horns and stuff like that. You know, what's they sell them and they say it's for the dog and all that stuff, but what's the I guess what do you think about those type of treats and stuff like that?
Similar. Like it depends on the dog because some dogs are big chewers. Like they have to chew on something. And that may be a dog that can chew and be done with that bully stick or that antler within like an hour, for example. And some of them chew on it for a little bit. The problem for me is when the dog, if you look at something and it could be this long, okay, your dog could end up swallowing that thing whole, potentially. Right. And so you have to be mindful. Right. So it's not going to come out on its own. So you have to take that dog to the vet because if it gets stuck, you got to go to the ER. Okay.
Yeah.
The ones that are like circular, those are easy to get like trapped on their like lower lip, like their lower mandible, for example.
Yeah.
There are videos of dogs actually having to get sedated to have those taken off or like cut around the bone, like get the bone off of them. Or one person was actually able to physically maneuver it out of the dog's mouth. Same thing with toys. Like if a dog can possibly swallow that toy, you have a German Shepherd and you give it a regular tennis ball.
Yeah.
It could swallow that whole.
Yeah.
Okay. So treats, you have to be mindful of your dog and you have to figure out what is too small or what is big enough that my dog could possibly swallow this whole. And you may surprise yourself because you may never think that, they could swallow that whole.
Yeah.
And they end up doing it.
Yeah.
So they're good. To me, they're good, but it just depends on the dog.
Gotcha. I will say also, people, depending on your dog, don't go out and buy toys. Trust me, I have done this many times. I have bought the butt plug Kong things and they don't work. I have done the whole putting treats inside of it, freezing it, putting peanut butter, maybe like cream cheese on. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
On the outside of it. But if you buy one toy and the dog doesn't like, they don't like pounce on it or like go for it, like don't be like, oh, let me try another toy and see if that works. Like, dude, look, honestly, buy like, get an old sock, get like a
foreign body waiting to happen.
Yeah, a water bottle. Put that water bottle into that sock. There you go. That's a toy, right? And tie that motherfucker off like really nice, so they can't like break through it or get it loose. That is a good toy. All this squeaky for me personally, my dog, I don't like squeaky toys.
Good. You shouldn't buy squeaky toys. Like that's when I say foreign body.
Yeah.
When I say foreign body, literally like it's trapped and it has no way out. You got to go in and either surgically take that shit out or try to take a scope and go in their mouth and grab it. So squeaky toys are one of the biggest things that they see in the ER that a dog has swallowed. Socks for sure. Okay. Stuffing of toys.
Yeah.
That's another thing because that can expand in their stomach and cause an issue. So you literally have to know your dog. And I agree, like, don't buy a shit ton of toys and you be disappointed that your dog only picks probably the most basic toy of all of that. And it could be the sock with a bottle in there. Let the dog go take the dog to the doggone pet store with you and let them pick out the toy. Like, let them smell around and figure out, okay, I want this one. Or some dogs do. They will pick it out for you or for themselves.
Yeah. I wanted to see if Lexi, do you have anything that you wanted to ask? I know you don't have any pets or anything like that. Have you ever thought about getting a pet?
I think about it all the time. Like, I want to get a dog or a cat. No, I'm not lying. Like, because I love Sunny. Like, she's amazing. But, like, I don't like being responsible for another living, breathing thing. And so that part just, like, keeps me
away from.
Because you complain about that all the time. But my question is, segueing into that, like, what's the best pet insurance to get for your pet? Because we talk about that often.
That's a good question. That's a really good question because there's more than one that I would say that I've heard my clients either say they have or they go through. So believe it or not, State Farm does have insurance for your pet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. State Farm is one. Lemonade is another one. That's kind of one of the newer ones. Trupanion is another that I see clients often get too. Those will probably be the big three I see the most. Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, not State Farm. My client was like, Nationwide.
Nationwide.
He said Nationwide is on his side. I remember him saying that about his dog. So yes, Nationwide, not State Farm. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, but Lemonade, Nationwide, Trupanion are like three that I know off the top of my head.
Okay.
That are good. Okay. And with the pricing of stuff, that's a big thing. Clients complaining about the pricing of services.
Yeah, and
for their and they think it's supposed to be cheap. If our health is not cheap and it's pricey, what makes you think that your dog or cat's health is not going to be the same way? Okay, they got to have surgeries that cost money. That is why we are really advocating for clients that when they get a pet, get insurance. Like, don't even like this, like try to second guess it or, oh, let me wait and see. You go wait and see, go fuck around and find out. Okay. And your dog is going to have an injury. And guess what? You got to pay all that out of pocket because you don't have insurance. So get insurance. If you get a dog, get a cat. Definitely if you have a dog. Cats, and they a little bit different. Cats don't want to break shit as much as dogs do or get into stuff like that. But don't complain about it because you have to pay for that service.
Now, are there you told me about this too, but I want to do this. Are there certain breeds, in your opinion, of like I'll say dogs, that you're like, why were these breeds even made? Like hit me. What you got?
It is the beloved Frenchie. Okay. French bulldogs in general. Bulldogs, any what we call brachycephalic breed, which tends to be your English bulldog, your French bulldog, or your American bulldog.
Yeah.
Those three, especially them two, Frenchie and English bulldogs, they can't breathe, bruh. They cannot breathe. So they're actually banned in a couple countries, believe it or not.
I didn't know that.
They are. Yeah, they're banned because of the genetic nightmare they are. Because same thing. People don't think if it's hot outside to you, or if you think it's warm outside to you, Just imagine having a bulldog or a Frenchie that barely has opened up nostrils trying to breathe. Usually they have to breathe with their mouth open, and they have what we call elongated soft palate. So what that means is like, if you look, so it goes
simple.
like this. Okay. What happens is when they're breathing in that air, this is flapping like this. It gets stuck. Okay. When it gets stuck, no air is able to go in.
Yeah.
So it's trapping them. So let's say they're outside walking, doing a regular ass walk down the street. For you, it's okay. For them, they're like, oh shit, I'm trying to breathe, I'm about to die. So those are the ones that we don't have out in the heat like that. So Frenchies, English bulldogs. I love a Frenchie that has a nose. Okay.
How often is a thing though?
What's seen a Frenchie with actual nostrils that are open?
Yeah.
I don't see that often. Usually have the correction. So people usually have to get surgery for them to correct that, to make it open. And even with that whole soft palate thing, they have surgery for that. It's something called BOAS. So it's like a brachycephalic obstruction airway syndrome is what that stands for. So a lot of times they'll have their nares corrected, their epiglottis, like soft palate, also resected or fixed so that way they can breathe better. They are higher risk. So Frenchies, English, or brachycephalic in general, they just pose a higher risk when it comes to general anesthesia. So putting them under, because there's not a lot of air getting in for them, and they're not able to push all of that out. So at least where I was doing my program at NC State, after any brachycephalic breed had any type of anesthesia, they automatically went into like an oxygen tank for like an hour.
Shit.
Yeah, that was a part of the protocol, is that they get 1 hour free oxygen after they come from surgery. So that way they're okay. They also don't take out the tube quick either. So they literally they wait for them to wake up fully.
Yeah.
Like, and they also are in that tank sometimes with the tube in, just to make sure like they can breathe on their own. Because you can't do that. You just can't. So I would get rid of them. But it's the glorified breed. Frenchies are glorified. Yeah.
So I want to hit you with like just fast round questions, okay? And you know, you can take your time with it, but best breed of dog if you have children.
Labrador.
Labs. Okay.
Or Goldens. Labs and Goldens are good.
Gotcha. Best dog for very athletic or very fit people that go running and stuff like that. Very active people.
I would say like your cattle dogs, like Australian cattle dog. Those, or collies, border collies. I'll see, or healers. Blue healers is another one, or another phrase. Those are the ones I would say I see the most. Labs too, if they're fit, if they already are fit.
Best breeds for, let's say you wanted something for protection.
You could do a King Corso. A King Corso is one. A Press Canario is another one, but they are not family oriented dogs at all.
Yeah.
You could definitely go Doberman. Yeah.
I got a question. Sorry. I know he was going to cut it in, so I had to get my little moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what's the best breed, the best quiet breed? Because I don't like loud barking dogs, and I want a dog, so I need to know.
The best quiet breed. Do you like big dog or small dog, if you had to pick?
Give me one of both. There we go.
One of both. Okay. So if you had a small dog.
I mean, the test is pretty big, so we're good there.
Okay. So if you had like a small dog that doesn't bark much, Jesus, I feel like all the small dogs bark. That's the thing. I would say I don't really see that Lexi, that's a stretch. Maybe a Basenji. Basenjis can be a little irritating for other people, but I've never heard them bark. I've heard them whine a little bit. A Shiba Inu, they may or may not. These are breeds that I don't see often, but they are relatively quiet.
Okay.
Large breed dog that's quiet. I don't really see too many greyhounds making noises.
All right, good. Give me some options. All right, good.
And for our anime listeners and gamers and stuff, what is your take on corgis?
Huh, funny. You real funny.
What's your take on corgis? Yeah.
I love corgis. I do. I'm a big dog girly, so if I had to pick a small dog, I tell people all the time, like, I would do I would pick a corgi. Corgis are cute. Boston Terriers to me are cute too. They're on the smush face side. But yeah, that's probably my favorite one. People say, oh, they're not always nice. They're a little bit too this, too that. I'm like, well, the ones I've met have been really nice, corgi wise. So I love it.
Are corgis kind of like overall like pretty? Are let me ask you this: are most corgis like purebreds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of I've never seen a crossbred corgi. If I did, maybe once, if that, but it was predominantly like a lab mixed with a corgi, mixed with something else, mixed with something else. Like it was compact into one. I don't really see any corgi mixes.
Has there been a mix of a dog that you saw and you were like, damn, that works?
Believe it or not, it was like an Akita mixed with German Shepherd. If it wasn't a German Shepherd, within it had no, it was an Akita mixed with a German Shepherd. It actually looked, it was a big, very big dog, very handsome. He had the face. It was mixed. Like he had the black face of like an Akita and the ears a bit of an Akita with the mix of Shepherd. His body was all Shepherd and the tail was Shepherd, but you could tell like he was not purebred. And I was like, his tongue had the spottedness on it too.
Yeah.
A little bit of spottedness.
Damn.
But yeah, it was like 1 or 2 spots. But yeah, he was a good looking dog.
That's what's up. You got other questions, Lexi?
Yeah. So I guess what would be the best dog for like first time pet owner?
I can answer that one for you.
I would say it really because it depends on the person and the person's personality. So that question is very loaded. So I can't say, oh, this breed will work for everybody. So like how you made a comment about, oh, what is a breed that doesn't bark much? Okay. You may say specifically, okay, I want a breed that doesn't bark much or a breed that doesn't shed much of any hair. That can kind of guide you into what direction will be a recommendation for a first time pet. I would say the most cliche answer is a Labrador. Like everyone always knows, oh, labs, lab puppies, or golden retrievers. Those are always the ones we see all the time. I love pitties. Oh, I love pitties.
I was about to say
yes,
that.
I'm a pitty. I love pit bulls. That's probably my number 2 favorite large breed dog. I like Great Danes because I had a Great Dane growing up. So that's will always be a fave. But I like giant schnauzers. They're huge and I love their coats. So yeah, but pitties, everyone has a pitty. And I find a pitty. Like that's what we had in Alabama all the time. Was pitties.
I'll ask you. You got another one, Lex?
No, I think I'm good. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, is there when it comes to pits, is all dogs have their pros and cons, but with pits, does color matter when it comes to a pit?
No, but people make it. Some people make it. Look, I want a red-nosed pit. I want a blue nose pit, bruh. Why? Like it's because of just the look of it. Like, oh, I want a fawn one, or what's called like it's some type of pit that's red and no, it's like something boy. Not even some people want brindle pitties, but it's one certain color like red that some people may go for. To me, as long as it's cute, friendly, I don't care the color. I don't care about that at all. But if it just so happens to be brindle, okay, it's a brindle pitty. But yeah, some people they want what they want, so they want a specific color. But be mindful. You get a blue nose pit, okay? Prime example is Sunny. Sunny's considered a blue nose pit. Okay.
Yeah, she is.
The coat, their coat. What happens with it is that they have something called color dilution alopecia. So if you see Sunny sides, color dilution alopecia.
There you go.
So what that means is literally because of their coat color, the hair comes out. And it may grow back in, it may not, or they may progressively continue to lose their hair because of their coat color. So I will see that in Doberman pinscher, like Dobermans, for example. The ones that are not the normal brown and black, they're like this fawn color. That's not normal. Yorkies that are like silver, that's not normal.
That's
a silver
crazy.
lab, yeah. Silver labs, that's not normal. Okay.
Yeah.
So or like bulldogs that are gray, anything that's not the normal standard color of that dog, I will say a lot of times we'll see this skin. It's basically a cosmetic issue. We can't fix it at all.
Yeah.
And that really can piss off some clients because they are hoping that it is, but you chose this dog. Unfortunately, this is a con that could come with it. And they may not see it in another dog that they had before. It's just a unfortunate pick that happens. But yeah.
Okay. And kind of before we go, what is something that you would want people to know when it comes to selecting an animal, or they're thinking about going and they're thinking about, what, I think I want to get a pet.
Do your research. You have to. If you want a specific breed, or you just want a pet in general, or if you want to, it's really if you get more specific, because if you just say, oh, I want a dog, cool. You're kind of like, that means you're open. But also be mindful, like if you pick a certain breed of dog, like beagles, they're going to howl. Okay. If you don't want a dog that's howling, hounds, don't get that kind of breed. So if you really are able to narrow down what the pros and cons, like what you want and what you don't want, that can help you on the long run. And there are definitely these, Facebook groups out there, which I personally am not a huge advocate for because they're not always that accurate when it comes to certain breeds of dogs. And clients will say, well, I read this on this Facebook group. And it's like, okay, good for you. Like, good for you. But do your research.
You can read. Go ahead.
You can read. That's something I suggest to clients or people if they want to get a dog. And also like putting in their mind, if you want to get a boutique breed, and when I say boutique, I mean purebred, be prepared. If you can pay for a boutique breed, that means you can buy a yacht. Okay. And I say that so specifically because the health issues that come with different breeds of dogs. And Christopher knows this too. He gets on me about it like, okay, Ty, what about a boxer? And I go down a slew of what they tend to have.
Nigga, all the time.
So if you're like, okay, you want a dog to live a long time. You don't want to get a giant breed dog because they don't live that long. They live like 7 to 10 years, sometimes maybe a little bit longer. Small dogs, they live a long time. So if you want a dog to really grow up with your kids and go through college and all that stuff, you may want to consider a small dog. If you want something for protection, a big dog. If you have a baby, get that dog acclimated to the baby because it's just different dynamics. So you really have to figure out what is a family kind of dog versus not, what is good for just one person and one person only.
Mhm.
So research. If you don't know, reach out to, a veterinarian. They may answer the questions for free, okay? Or they may not. They may charge you. But they have dog books. They have different books out here for you to educate yourself too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Lexi, do you have any other questions?
Nope. I'm good.
All right. Cool. Well, Tyler, thank you for joining us on this podcast. I do appreciate it a lot. A lot of good information there. Yeah. It's very great to see where you are now. Very proud of you, girl.
Thank you.
I am a lot. You've done a lot, and shut up. And been through a lot.
He has emotions. Oh,
They're in there.
All right, that's it. The end of the podcast. It's over. But,
I'm mushy for 2 seconds. No more.
Thank you guys for joining us for another episode, and we will see you guys again later. All right. Bye.
hey guys.